My name is Gracie. I'm 27 years old and I work both at home and in an office. My husband, Aaron, is the same age as me. He loves his mother a lot, but his mom, Eliza, tends to be quite mean to me. Even though our marriage has had its problems, we just celebrated our second anniversary and I'm proud of how I've managed to handle everything. Work has become my way of relaxing. Because of this, I've been getting promoted frequently, which is rare for women. Right now, I'm on a business trip traveling around Europe for meetings. I'm currently in an important meeting. During the meeting, my phone, which was on silent, started vibrating. I thought it might be an emergency because I had 2 missed calls. When I checked my phone, I saw that the calls were from my mother-in-law, Eliza. What's going on? I thought, worried that something might be wrong. I quickly decided to call back. Just as I was about to leave my desk, Eliza called again. "Hello, Gracie. Where are you?" she asked, sounding annoyed. I picked up the call and wasn't happy with the tone of her voice. Maybe I shouldn't have answered this, I muttered. "Hi, Eliza. How are you? Is there something urgent?" "Why aren't you answering me? I asked where you are," she said, sounding impatient. Even though her attitude annoyed me, I was in the middle of an important meeting and didn't want to argue. So I said softly, "Sorry, didn't Aaron tell you? I'm in a meeting on a business trip. Can I call you back when I'm done?" Of course, Aaron told me. "What are you doing, leaving your house and husband alone? Come back home right now," Eliza demanded, with her usual sudden and unreasonable request. "I'm sorry, Eliza, but I'm in an important meeting and I can't just." I started to explain, but she cut me off. "You're so bossy, even though you're just Aaron's wife. I don't care about your excuses. Just come home right now. Today is very important. Do you understand?" "What? Today is important?" I asked, surprised. Eliza finally admitted, "We're celebrating my 60th birthday today." She said this in a smug tone. I remembered her birthday was supposed to be at the end of the month. I was surprised to hear it was today, especially since I was on a business trip. My husband and I had already planned a special dinner for her birthday at a nice restaurant. I was fed up with Eliza trying to boss me around again. It seemed like she was getting worse every year, especially when she knew I was busy with important work. I told her, "As I've mentioned, I'm on a business trip, so I can't come home." "Oh, that's funny," she said. "I called Aaron earlier, and he said he'd take a day off for me. All the relatives will be there, but you, Gracie, always working. You're so cold. How do you feel about your husband's family?" I knew if I listened to her much longer, her sarcasm would just continue. Since I was still in a meeting, I couldn't stay on the phone with her, so I said, "I'm sorry, but no matter what you say, I can't make it to your 60th birthday celebration." Eliza's tone changed abruptly. She took a deep breath and said, "Fine then, I won't consider you family. Don't come back home. It's a divorce. Aaron deserves better." Her harsh words hit me hard. I was both angry and upset, but I didn't want to argue with her on the phone. I said, "All right, I'll talk to you when I get home. I'm sorry, but I have to go." Eliza snapped, "What's with that attitude? I told you not to come back. I'll talk to Aaron myself." Then she hung up. I was exhausted from dealing with my mother-in-law. I returned to the meeting with a deep sigh. After 2 days of meetings, I finally made it home. On the way back, I was so angry and frustrated with my mother-in-law that I barely remembered how I got home. When I opened the front door and called out, I heard my husband's tired voice say, "Welcome back." I took off my heels and went straight to the living room, leaving my luggage at the door. There, I saw a stack of cardboard boxes and my husband, Aaron, sweating as he taped them up. "What's with all the boxes?" I asked. Aaron told me the boxes were packed with my things. He explained that Eliza had indeed celebrated her 60th birthday on the day she called me, without me. She told everyone that I had neglected her birthday and was rude on the phone. Eliza even told the relatives she wanted me to be divorced and sent back to my parents' house because I wasn't good enough for her son. This sounded exactly like something my mother-in-law would do, so I asked Aaron, "And then what happened? Did your mother tell you to get a divorce and you agreed to it?" "No, I didn't exactly agree," Aaron said. "But she told me to pack up your stuff, and I didn't have much choice." "What could I do?" He stopped taping up the boxes and spoke in a tired voice. "What do you mean? You didn't argue with your mother? Does that mean you're okay with the idea of getting a divorce?" Aaron explained that his father, Alex, had also told him, "If Eliza's upset, It'll be tough for you, so you better do what she says. So Aaron went along with the divorce. I couldn't believe he was accepting the divorce so easily. What is wrong with Aaron's family? His father is controlled by his mother, and Aaron blindly obeys her too. It felt like no one was on my side. When I was at a loss for words, Aaron said, "What my mother says is final. It's only until she calms down and things settle. This divorce isn't real. I'll come for you when things are better." He looked at me with pleading eyes. I wish he would show that kind of pleading to his own mother. How could a grown man like Aaron be so afraid of his mom? I thought, there's no saving this. I almost felt ashamed, questioning what I ever saw in him. But then I realized maybe this was an opportunity. Staying with Aaron would only mean more torment from Eliza, always pushing me toward a divorce. Maybe it was actually lucky to get a divorce from him without much hassle. I could support myself just fine. Even if I lived alone, I wouldn't lack for anything. Suddenly, everything seemed clearer. I looked at Aaron and said, "Fine, let's get a divorce." Right after that, I called Eliza. After 3 tries, she finally picked up. "Hello," Eliza answered. I said quietly, "As you wish, we're getting a divorce." Eliza, sounding triumphant, replied in a bouncy tone, "Yes, please, leave. Finally you realize you're not good enough for Aaron." I'm so relieved. "Don't worry, I'll find him a new wife who's obedient, pretty, and nice to her in-laws." She continued, "I'm sure Aaron will be popular. I'll take care of him until he finds his next wife. So don't worry about that." After she finished with her sarcasm, I told Eliza, "Well, don't misunderstand me, Mother." Eliza, still in a good mood, responded, "Oh, you're just a sore loser. Don't worry about me. Oh, and Gracie," she added, "I got the divorce papers from the city office and gave them to Aaron. Don't forget to sign them." Then, without another word, she hung up. Aaron, who had been listening to my conversation with Eliza, looked relieved. I thought, is Aaron really that clueless? I asked him, "By the way, does your mother know you're a full-time house husband?" He replied, "How could I tell her that? My mother is obsessed with the idea that I'm a high-ranking employee at a big company." He said this with a firm tone. "Oh, right," I said. "Now that I think about it, you've never been honest with Eliza. You always wear a worn-out sweatshirt at home, but you change into a suit whenever you go out to see her. You also pretend not to be home when she calls, making her think you're at work." Eliza had boasted at her 60th birthday party that Aaron was such a devoted son he took time off just to attend her celebration. She also mentioned that with his status, he could easily find a more obedient and attractive wife than me. I'm sure the truth will come out once we're divorced. But Eliza, who believes her son is perfect, would never expect that Aaron had actually quit his job at the major company. Aaron had actually quit his job about a year ago. What Eliza saw as her elite son, a symbol of high status, was now just an unemployed full-time house husband. Aaron lost his job after a major mistake led to a written apology, a demotion, and a pay cut. He probably didn't tell his mother about this. Aaron must have been deeply shocked by his fall from the elite path. Since Eliza had always pampered and spoiled him, he became quite fragile and sensitive. Just the thought of going back to the office to deal with the consequences of his mistake made him feel anxious and sick. He couldn't even leave the house, let alone go to work. Initially, Aaron tried to report his absences and apply for paid leave, but eventually he stopped even calling in. As his unauthorized absences piled up, he got fired. Now, he seems to have no plans to look for another job and is heavily relying on my income. Aaron hasn't told Eliza about this because he knows she would be furious and upset. I was a bit disappointed I wouldn't get to see Eliza's reaction when she discovered Aaron's situation after I left. I imagined she'd be shocked, maybe even have a stroke, but that was no longer my concern. Aaron handed me the divorce papers and said, "This is just a cover to convince my mother, okay." I quickly submitted the papers and signed a lease for a new apartment, moving in as soon as possible. A month later, I got a call from Eliza, even though I thought I cut ties with her for good. Curious about what she wanted, I answered, "What do you want now? Aren't you happy to be rid of me?" I said with a hint of sarcasm. Eliza replied, "You're still the same. Just listen to me." She continued in her usual tone, talking about Aaron. After I left, Eliza had visited Aaron's apartment several times to help with chores. Each time she found him just lounging around in his room with no sign of him going to work. Since he didn't seem sick, she asked me if I had any idea what was going on. I held back a laugh and replied casually, I see. Well, Aaron's like that because he has no intention of working again. Eliza seemed to have forgotten she was the one who kicked me out and asked, Gracie, can you do something about it? Why should I? You didn't want me in your family and wanted nothing to do with me, I said. It was so typical of her to ask for something only when it suited her after mistreating me for so long. She then said, I was wondering if you said something to Aaron before you left. I couldn't believe how she was trying to make me the bad guy. Doesn't she see the problem is with her son, not me? I'm the one who was hurt here, you know. Oh really? Eliza said. You only married Aaron for a luxurious life, right? So why would a divorce be so painful for you? She looked at me as if I'd married Aaron just for his money. Are you kidding me? I was the one supporting Aaron financially during our marriage. I was the one providing for him. In reality, I couldn't afford to live extravagantly because of Aaron. I was fine with the divorce, but should I consider asking for alimony? Eliza couldn't believe what I said. How dare you make up something like that? Gracie, you just forgot to ask for alimony, didn't you? Aaron has a higher income and position than you. Don't be so unreasonable. If you want money, Aaron can pay whatever you want. After all, Aaron is a high-level employee at a major company. Eliza's argument was as outrageous as ever. Maybe Aaron hadn't told her the truth yet. I didn't want to seem like I was just tattling, but I saw an opportunity to get back at her. So I told her, your proud son is actually a full-time house husband. He quit his job a long time ago. What? You're lying, Eliza shouted, unable to accept what I said. Her voice was so loud, I thought it might damage my eardrums. I held the phone away from my ear and said, Why don't you check with the company? You'll find out who's telling the truth. Eliza went silent for a moment. Then she said, Well, what if that's true? How are we going to manage? I can't support my son on just my pension, and no one will want to marry him if he's unemployed. What are we going to do? Her voice had clearly softened, and I couldn't help but grin. What shall we do? I asked. Eliza was silent for a moment, then mumbled something with someone beside her. Finally, she said, Hey, Gracie, will you please come back home? I was puzzled by her sudden change of tone, but replied firmly, No, we're already divorced. I wouldn't come back to your family if heaven and earth turned upside down. Then I heard commotion in the background. Someone was shouting. It sounded like Aaron. I told you I'd come for you when things settled down. Aaron's voice rang out. Eliza responded, Yes, yes. You could remarry my son if you wanted. What are you talking about? I asked. No way. I wouldn't do it for the world. Don't joke about this. Thanks, but seriously, no. I made it clear to Eliza that I wasn't interested in getting involved with her son or dealing with any more toxic relationships. I wanted nothing to do with someone who adored his mother too much. I did what you asked me to do, so please stop changing your mind, I said. Eliza replied, But there's a bit of verbal sparring here. It's not like you should take my words so seriously. You've been talking back to me with a nonchalant attitude, haven't you? I didn't think you'd actually go through with divorcing my son. It seemed she hadn't expected me to reject her offer so firmly. In response to Eliza's bitter excuses, I said, Well, I was just putting up with it. Besides, Aaron packed up my things and kicked me out without consulting me. I let out my frustration, listing everything she had done to me. You see, that was just a prank, she said. A prank? It's worse than that, I said, feeling completely fed up. There was nothing more to say. I glanced at my watch. It was nearly 1 o'clock. My lunch break had been wasted on this pointless conversation. Ah, Eliza, are you done now? I asked. What, Gracie? What did you say? She replied, her voice still annoyingly sweet. Did Eliza really think a sweet voice would get her a good answer? Knowing I wouldn't meet her expectations, I said, I'm going to hang up now. I have another meeting in a few minutes and need to review some documents. As I started to disconnect the call, Eliza kept insisting, Wait, Gracie. Hey, Gracie, say something. I could hear her shouting, and she also scolded Aaron, saying, You didn't handle this right, and look what happened. It was clear that Eliza blames everyone else for her problems. I was so fed up with her that I ended the call and blocked her number. Afterward, Aaron tried to contact me constantly. Seizing the opportunity, I asked my lawyer to pursue alimony. Aaron's family, probably nervous about legal action, quickly paid the alimony in a lump sum. It seemed my ex-parents-in-law advanced the money. Because of this, Alex and Eliza were constantly irritated with Aaron, telling him daily to find a job and work, which Aaron was fed up with. The former Elites had fallen far from their previous status. Aaron ended up moving back to his parents' house because he couldn't afford his apartment rent. He blamed his parents for his divorce and was now draining their pension and retirement savings. Like mother, like son, they blamed each other for their problems and refused to reflect on their own actions. They were even planning to apply for welfare soon. I hope the government will help them realize that they can't continue their selfish ways. As for me, the proposal I made during my business trip was accepted, leading to a major contract being signed. I was promoted again, received a higher salary, and now enjoy a rich bachelorette life, free from in-laws' torment and financial dependency on a family member. If I ever consider marriage again, I'll definitely do a thorough background check to avoid any mama's boys or crazy in-laws.